Inside a royal earthquake, when one interview shook the monarchy. What is more dangerous than a scandal? A failed interview, watched by millions. In 2019, Prince Andrew walked into the studios of BBC to face the cameras on Newsnight. The objective was simple: draw a line under the controversy. The outcome was anything but. What followed became one of the most consequential public relations disasters in modern royal history. But to understand why that moment detonated so violently, we must step back behind palace doors. For years, stories circulated quietly about Andrew's temperament. Former protection officer Paul Page described details that caught public attention: a collection of teddy bears arranged precisely according to a laminated diagram placed beside the bed. Every item had a fixed position. If anything was moved, he claimed, the reaction could be sharp and unforgiving. On its own, such an anecdote might appear eccentric rather than alarming. Yet combined with descriptions of impatience and a manner some former staff found intimidating, it painted a portrait of a man accustomed to unquestioned authority. These accounts remain personal recollections, but as similar stories resurfaced over time, they began to shape public perception. Then came 2019. During the BBC interview, Andrew sought to deny allegations connected to his past association with Jeffrey Epstein. Instead of closing the matter, the appearance intensified scrutiny. The most discussed moment was his claim that he was unable to sweat due to a medical condition following his service in the Falklands War. It was not merely the statement itself that resonated, it was the tone. Viewers and commentators questioned whether sufficient empathy had been conveyed. In the digital era, perception travels faster than clarification. Clips spread across social media within hours. Communications experts later described the interview as a case study in strategic miscalculation. Within days, Andrew announced he would step back from public duties. It was a personal retreat, but institutionally, it signaled something larger. As debate intensified, historians and biographers began examining the wider framework surrounding the Duke of York. Some researchers have spoken publicly about the challenges of accessing archival material, citing security protocols and institutional caution. Investigative biographers questioned how a carefully prepared interview could unravel so completely. The episode revealed a deeper tension: attempts to protect reputation in the short term can risk long-term institutional credibility. The death of Elizabeth II marked a profound transition. Under Charles III, the monarchy signaled a desire for a streamlined, working core of senior royals. Roles previously held by Andrew had already been relinquished, and his public presence diminished further. Reports suggested that Prince William supported a modernized approach focused on accountability and public service rather than inherited privilege alone. This was no longer solely about one individual. It became a test of how an ancient institution adapts to contemporary expectations. Why does this matter? Because it illustrates three uncomfortable realities. First, in the 21st century, no public figure is insulated from global scrutiny. Second, a single media appearance can undo decades of carefully constructed image. Third, institutions endure only if they demonstrate the capacity to recalibrate. Some argue that Andrew became a symbol of excessive media judgment. Others contend that he represented the dangers of entitlement without transparency. Legal processes and public opinion do not always move in tandem. Yet regardless of interpretation, the 2019 interview permanently altered how the royal household approaches crisis management. The British monarchy has weathered wars, abdications and constitutional upheavals. It has survived by evolving. The question that lingers is whether this episode marked the fall of a man, or the end of an era in which power required no explanation. In an age defined by instant reaction and relentless analysis, the greatest threat to legacy may not be accusation alone, but the response to it. Sometimes, what shakes a monarchy is not the scandal itself, but the answer given under studio lights.